Paul Storr, England's supreme silversmith. Paul Storr is perhaps one of the most influential silversmiths in history and is synonymous with the character of the Regency period. His career began at a very early age, and he became the apprentice of Andrew Fogelberg at the age of just 14. Born in 1771, it's said that the foundations for his career were laid down after he experienced his father Thomas's metalwork, patterns, and designs. Storr went on to enter his first mark in 1792, after entering into what would turn out to be a relatively short partnership with William Frisby. Fogelberg's work was a massive influence on Storr. Once he started to use his PS mark, he would only make small changes to it for the remainder of his career. Storr benefited from encouragement from figures as illustrious as King George III, whilst his gold font, commissioned by the Duke of Portland for his son's christening in 1797, was seen as a milestone. 2 years later he was commissioned by Lord Nelson to create the Battle of the Nile Cup. Collectors still fervently seek out his work today, paying sizable sums to invest in the pieces, which continue to only rise in value. In the years after he first entered his mark, Storr started to adopt a minimal neoclassical style. Storr is often compared to Paul de la Meurier, due to the way that his work dominated his era. Storr set up his own workshop in London's Eyre Street in 1796, after deciding to travel down an independent route post-Frisby. After 1800, he moved away from his initially restrained style to design elaborate pieces for Rundell, Bridge & Rundell, the Royal Goldsmiths, selling his work through their London shop, whilst adapting his designs to suit the house style and the tastes of their affluent customers. In 1801, Storr married Elizabeth Beyer, his longtime friend, going on to produce 10 children with her, with 54 grandchildren resulting. Paul Storr became a partner in Rundell, Bridge & Rundell in 1811, after making a name for himself on a global level, yet initially rejecting offers from them. It is thought that the decision to finally accept Philip Rundell's invitation was instrumental in laying the foundations for his later work, for which he would become renowned to this day. The firm almost completely monopolized the silver market in the early 19th century, and the relationship with Storr was extremely beneficial for all concerned, leading to Storr taking on commissions through this influential firm that he may not have been met with otherwise. 1811 was the same year that he decided to move his workshop to Dean Street in London. Orders became bigger and more lucrative, and customers even more well-known and powerful. During this era, he was incredibly prolific as his skills became more and more sought after. It is thought that the Duke of Cambridge, Prince Adolphus, bought an entree dish here, as suggested by the coat of arms engraved onto the item. This item is incredibly prestigious and demonstrates just how much Storr had developed as a master craftsman since his minimal neoclassical works of his earlier years. Storr left Rundell, Bridge & Rundell in 1819, experimenting with naturalistic designs whilst no longer needing to conform to their house style. It's thought that he felt frustrated about losing a significant amount of creative freedom by being restricted to their styles. The work he produced at this time was in keeping with the Rococo form, a style which was experiencing a new lease of life. A new partnership was started in 1822 with the Bond Street retailer James Mortimer. Storr agreed to this new arrangement after realizing that he needed a new central location for selling his work. Storr was asked to sell most of his work through the shop. The arrangement was, however, affected by friction, with Mortimer's management of the store and Mortimer business being criticized. The arrangement did last until 1839, when Storr decided to retire to live with his wife in Tooting. However, he sadly died just 5 days after relocating. Storr's legacy lives on in his influence and the techniques he introduced, which are still being emulated today. He is noted not just for his designs, but his approach to every element of a production, from start to finish, adding magical finishes to his work to ensure that the end result surpassed all expectations. Storr is constantly praised for the way that his designs manage to make the most of the metal form, working around its strengths as well as its weaknesses. For those not in a position to actually invest in Storr's work, it can be viewed in several museums located in a number of locations. Perhaps most notably, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, New York, which features work from the end of his career. Other museums known for housing Storr's work are located in places such as Boston, San Francisco, and the UK. Experts in the silver trade regularly agree that Storr's skill, creative eye, and attention to detail have barely been matched since his passing, with his level of versatility also being seen as one of his magical attributes. He was able to apply his own unique identity to not only minimal neoclassical work, but to exuberant and ostentatious tasks given him through his work with Rundle, Bridge, and Rundle, too. Storr paid the same amount of attention to low-key pieces as he did to the more highly prestigious commissions he was given through aristocrats and other severely affluent figures. His understanding of the nature of silver, exploiting what it could do and negotiating around what it couldn't achieve, have ensured that his legacy shows no signs of fading. His pieces are said to perfectly encapsulate the elegance and sophistication of the Regency era. Storr also ensured that each piece he made was completely unique, with a robust dedication to avoiding repetition.